Kia ora koutou. Welcome to another version of the Hot Air Sports Podcast with me, Macca, and my good mate Mahone. How are you this week, bud?
I'm real good, mate. And it is another version, isn't it? We've
It
decided
is
to do
another
something
version.
a little bit different today, haven't we? And it's not just to make me avoid mentioning the Warriors, because I will mention them at the end of the podcast. I'll mention them in passing anyway. We're not mentioning the Warriors today. Today it's all about football, isn't it, mate?
Yes,
Football.
quite right. Wish we had we need the match of the day music coming up. Anyway, enough of that. Right, let's rip straight into it. Now, Liverpool's quadruple dreams are still alive, but
hanging by a thread.
Just looking more and more unlikely as Man City look uncatchable, don't they, unfortunately?
Yeah, they do, mate. They're just not going to lose another game. There's lots of people pulling their hair out about that. We should have done this and we should have done that as Liverpool fans.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Mate, this is a great time to be alive for a Liverpool fan. If we get a double, a triple, even if we only end up with the League Cup, mate, you and I have lived through the bad times. This is a great time to be a Liverpool fan. The way the team are playing, the fact that we're still in 4 competitions, no one's gone this far being in 4 competitions. Just a great time to be a Liverpool fan, mate. It doesn't really matter if we don't win the Premier League. It'd be great. It would be. I want the Premier League. But, mate, we've done well.
Well, as Bill Shankly always used to say, the league is our bread and butter.
Exactly. And that's exactly what Manchester City was saying after they got knocked out of the Champions League. I mean, they always say, oh, no, we probably want the league more. Probably. Bullshit. They want the Champions League.
We'll come to that. Anyway, we've got the FA Cup final this weekend against Chelsea. This is going to be an interesting game. Chelsea have not been at their best lately, and just a few little things creeping into Liverpool's game. Obviously, when you're playing 60-plus games a season, there's going to be a bit of fatigue. And we have seen that. We'll talk a bit more about that soon. But yeah, Liverpool-Chelsea this weekend.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
You're picking.
FA Cup final, mate. I love the FA Cup final. I'll be getting up for this game. I don't get up for many games that Premier League. I usually just turn it on in the morning, but I'll be getting up for the FA Cup and reliving those times back in 1977 when I first became a Liverpool fan, and the cold of night, getting up, watching it on probably about a little 14-inch black and white with my dad, with the slippers on in front of the bar heater. You remember all that, mate?
Hot chocolate.
FA Cup is a great time. It doesn't matter. If your team's in the FA Cup, it's just a great time. And the FA Cup final, one of those traditional biggest games of the season. And I can't wait for it, mate. I mean, Chelsea have been a bit up and down, but I reckon they'll get themselves up for it. Will they start Lukaku is my question.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, who do you think some of the key figures will be in this game? Obviously, we know who the Liverpool ones are, and it's likely that they'll probably play Diaz up front on the left.
Have to.
Mane in the middle and Salah on the right.
Yeah.
Midfield, no Fabinho. He's out with a hamstring injury now, hoping he can be back for the Champions League final. But, So
what's your midfield? What's your midfield then? I suppose you got Keita, Henderson, and Thiago, haven't you?
Yep,
I mean,
Thiago my 3.
Thiago missed out on that.
Yeah. Interesting to see who Klopp plays at centre-back alongside Van Dijk. He's been switching between Matip and Konate recently, and it seems that Konate has had the edge in the bigger games.
He does. I mean, Matip's been sort of almost unmovable in the Premier League, although he did get shifted around for the Everton game, I believe. Konate played in that one. I think you play Konate, don't you? I mean, in the Champions League lately, he's got a couple of goals too. Not that Matip hasn't been scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, he scores the odd goal as well, but I just think Konate's a big bully, and I'd love to see him. I mean, I just think that Havertz running at him, he just won't get any joy. If Lukaku plays, I just don't think he'll get any joy there either. Him and Van Dijk look just such a serious partnership. I'd play Konate, but we don't lose much, do we, mate, if Magic plays,
No, quite right. And we'll look at the Champions League final a little closer towards the end of the month. Now, with every game a cup final, is the pressure or fatigue starting to show?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit with Andrew Robertson, but he rested him. I think this is this is what Klopp's got this year with the type of squad he's got. He's built so much depth in so many positions, and I think he's been able to rotate. He's rotated a lot more this year than he did. Well, obviously last year he couldn't rotate at all because he had so many injuries. The year before he didn't probably have the squad to do it. So, yeah, I think any time a player's looking like they may need a rest, he gives them a rest. And I think with just a handful of games left and just about every game meaning something, if you can't motivate yourself as a player, and these are Liverpool players, remember, man, they're all, what does he call them? Mentality giants.
Mentality monsters, yeah.
Yeah, mentality monsters. If they can't get themselves up for this, even if they're feeling a bit fatigued, I just think, they shouldn't be playing for Liverpool. So I don't think so. I don't think fatigue will come into it. I think they'll be motivated.
I just spotted Sadio Mane looked very tired in that Aston Villa game.
He did at the end of the game, didn't he?
Because, of course, him, Mohamed Salah and Naby Keita had the African Cup of Nations in February to, a few extra games.
That's true. And Mo's looking a little bit fatigued too, isn't he? But he's been given a rest.
Salah had a rest on the weekend. Yep. And Keita obviously hasn't been playing every game. But, it's just, as I said before, when you're playing 60-plus games in a season, it's
a lot of games.
It's a lot of games. And, since probably Christmas, every game has been a cup final, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Firmino's been injured for a while now. I've heard that he is back on the bench now.
He was on the bench against Villa, so he might get a run in the cup final.
Maybe off the bench, but I think they may play him maybe in one of the Premier League games as well coming up. So that should give a chance of some of the front three to be rested. I just think we've got good depth. I think if everyone's fit, when Firmino's back on, give him some minutes. I see what you're saying, especially as far as Mo and Sadio are concerned. But I just hope he gets a chance to maybe give them a little bit of rest in the Premier League games to come.
Yeah, well, you've good segue to my next question was with the league all but over. Do you think Klopp will rotate a bit more in those last two Premier League games against Southampton and Wolves?
Why not? We've got to score goals. Wolves didn't look that flash against. They look good going forward, but really at the back, they're pretty poor against City. I think we'll get a hatful of goals against both those sides anyway. So regardless of who he picks, provided he doesn't pick Tyler Morton and all the young kids, I think that we will score goals against both Southampton and Wolves anyway. I think. Yes,
we've got 7 goals to make up on Man City.
Yeah, we just got to go out there and win the games, don't we? Go out there and win the games. It could be as good as over if Man City win their next game anyway, mate. So they'll be 6 points ahead with a big goal difference. So the pressure may be off anyway. I just say you go out there, try and win the games, give whoever a rest. The players that come in will do a job, mate. They will.
Quite right.
Yep.
What happened with the Champions League semi-finals last week?
Mate. Oh, God. Well, we were staring down the barrel, weren't we? I was basically sweating bullets at halftime in that Villarreal game. 2-0 down against Villarreal. I thought, shit, this could be a repeat of the Liverpool comeback in the corner taken quickly game. Oh! But no, we came back and scored 3 goals in the second half, didn't we? 3-2. We took the tie 5-3 in aggregate. Real Madrid, the big story though. The big story though was about that. What was it? 5 minutes of madness in that Man City. Man City basically controlled the whole tie. Like the tie the Etihad, they should have won by about 4 goals. They only won by 1. They controlled the game in Madrid. They got a goal up. They looked like they were cruising it. And then just bang, bang, didn't they? They could have gone bang, bang, bang. Rodrigo, absolutely amazing. 2 goals in the space of a couple of minutes, and then could have had a third, could have had a hat-trick in about 5 minutes. That second goal he scored, I just want to talk a little bit about that. How the hell? It was the best header I think I've seen score a goal since Grant Turner's header against Australia all those years ago. It was just an absolute bullet, wasn't it? But the thing that got me is that it actually skimmed off the head of a defender before it got to him.
I know.
So he was actually in the wrong position to header it. If it hadn't have skimmed off the head of the guy in front, he never would have got it right in the middle and right where he got it. So it was like the voodoo gods of football were just hanging over Real Madrid and just springing a little bit of magic on them, weren't they? They're just destined.
Let's hope their run of magic's run out.
Definitely. Are you scared of them? You scared of Real Madrid?
Yes,
okay, let me put it this way. Would you have rather played City in the final than Real Madrid?
No.
There you go.
Prefer to play Real Madrid. I think there are some faults in their team that Manchester City didn't really exploit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and again, this is if Fabinho's playing. I think while I think Henderson plays well in that role, Fabinho just kills attacks.
Yeah,
he does. Before they get to the defence and makes Kanate and Virgil van Dijk look. I mean, I know Van Dijk's a great player, but
yeah,
I think Fabinho helps in making him look such a good player.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Fabinho's going to be a big miss. Hopefully, he's back for the Champions League final. But you're exactly right, mate. I mean, you've got to respect Real Madrid.
Totally.
I don't fear them like I fear City, though. I mean, although just the way they've beaten all these teams on their way to the fight, it is almost like a Liverpool 2005 run, isn't it? It's like the gods of football are just saying, you will get through. You will get through. It just doesn't seem to matter what happens to them. They've just got that little bit of magic dust, eh? But look, these are the two magic teams, aren't they? Liverpool and Real Madrid. They are the two teams with the most European quality out of just about any teams in Europe. And it should be a bloody good final, mate. It should be a bloody good final.
Just a question for you. With Pep struggling to pick up a Champions League title with City, what do you see as more important, Premier League or Champions League? And there was an interesting conversation between Micah Richards, Jamie Carragher, and Jamie Redknapp on Sky Sports UK about this the other night.
Yeah.
After the City game earlier in the week. Premier League or Champions League?
Well, what was the question? What's more important?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the Premier League's more important, but I think if you're asking the question, what do you want to win more? Maybe the Champions League, because I heard Jamie Carragher's argument was like, well, you've got all the teams in Europe, you've got all those teams, and only one of those teams, all the champions, and only one of those teams can win the Champions League, and yet they've all won their individual leagues. So to him, he thought that, the Champions League was more important. For me, I go back to what Shankly says, what all of them said, man, your Premier League should be your bread and butter. And the thing is, because we're both Liverpool fans, of course, we're going to say the competition we're still in, the Champions League, and the competition that we probably have a better history, and especially recently, the Champions League. But because we haven't won it so much, I mean, the Premier League means so much to us as Liverpool fans, doesn't it? Whereas if you asked a City fan, even though they've been knocked out of the Champions League, they'll say, oh, no, the Premier League. But I know deep down, they want to win the Champions. The Champions League legitimizes your side as one of those real big sides, eh? It's one of those
it's exactly
big
what Jamie Carragher said was winning the Champions League makes you a great club.
Yeah.
Winning your own league, whether it be La Liga, Bundesliga, Premier League, Serie A,
Scottish,
makes you a very, very good club in your own country.
That's right.
But the Champions League, and obviously it's a lot harder to win now, the Champions League, than the
absolutely
European Cup. You look back I was actually just looking up something about the 1984 European Cup final, which was between Liverpool and Roma. Both Liverpool and Roma only played 4 rounds to get to the game. All two-legged games, obviously.
Yeah.
So 8 games to get to the final. What is it now? It's 6 group games. You got 2 in the round of 16, 2 quarterfinals, 2 semi-finals.
7 extra games, 6 or 7. Yeah. So you got 14 odd games to win the Champions League, and then that's only if you get through in the first round without having to play qualifiers, because a lot of teams have to play qualifiers too, don't they? So
when Liverpool won it in 2005, they had to play 2 qualifying rounds.
I know, that's crazy, eh? Yeah, that 2005 season, we'll just go down in history. No, absolutely, mate. What about you? What do you think the bread and butter is? I mean,
Premier League, no doubt about it. winning that every year. Obviously, I agree with Jamie Carragher. The Champions League is a lot harder to win, even though it's a little less than half the games. But you're playing, once you get to the knockout stages, you're playing top clubs.
Absolutely.
From around Europe. I mean, Liverpool's obviously had a bit of an easier run.
But only this time. If you look back in the last, it's about time we had an easy run. I mean, we usually get the top clubs straight away, So it is. There are no poor clubs in the Champions League, are there? And you could say that
to the knockout stages, no.
No, but you could look at the Premier League and you could probably say half of those clubs in the Premier League for a team like Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. I mean, they should be beating the bottom half clubs most times, shouldn't they? Yeah,
quite right. Interesting discussion though.
No, absolutely, mate.
We'd like to hear your thoughts.
Tell us
about what you think is more important, Premier League.
Tell us we're wrong.
Champions League.
Tell us we're wrong. Yeah.
Tell us we're wrong, and it's the Carabao Cup.
The Milk Cup. Yes.
The Milk Cup. Yeah.
Hey, how about that new song that all the Scousers are singing, mate? I'm so glad that Jurgen is a Red. Yes, and he's re-signed, hasn't he? Another 4-year deal to keep him at Anfield until 2026. An option for longer as well if he wants to. Staff was extended too. Once Salah and Mane re-signed and cited being so energised by his players, he felt he and his wife Ulla, who also said she had a big say. He also said that she had a big say in him staying at Liverpool. He said that they couldn't walk away from the city. So what do you make of that? It has to be great news for Liverpool Football Club, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rangers, they surprised everybody, I think, making the Europa League final after their semi-final second leg heroics against RB Leipzig. Of course, they went into that game 1 goal down from the first leg and just absolutely smashed them.
Yeah, who needs two-legged ties, mate? Who needs the ties at at Ibrox? I mean, the atmosphere there was basically vacuous. There was no atmosphere at all. God, this is the thing. Two-legged ties, home and away. Look at that atmosphere. That was crazy crowd. I mean, it reminded me of when Steven Gerrard, for the whole game, because the cameramen couldn't hold the lens still. No. It was like the stand was shaking. It was like when Steven Gerrard scored that goal, third goal against Olympiacos all the time. I can't hold the camera still. It was like that the whole game at Ibrox. Amazing atmosphere there. And fantastic. Frankfurt versus Rangers in the final of the Europa League. Those are two great clubs. Frankfurt haven't been beaten in Europe this season. Yeah. They're a very, very handy side. Of course, they bundled out West Ham, who were they looked really tired, didn't they?
They did look very tired. Obviously, that Europa League really does. It's an extra round than the Champions League. And playing those Thursday night games and then playing your own league on the weekend, it's an absolute killer. And I mean, I've seen sides before that have been in a Europa League place, not purposely lose a couple of games at the end of the season,
but not really care,
not really caring that they missed out.
Yeah,
and we've seen what it's done to other sides. I mean, Leicester have always struggled when they've been in the Europa League.
Yep.
Other sides have struggled when they've been in that, and it's just, as I say, it's very hard to recover from a Thursday night game, even if you're playing on a Sunday.
Especially for a team like West Ham that isn't a big squad, don't have a lot of players. They're not Liverpool or anything. Michael Antonio's played about 1,000 games this season, and it looks like it. They just look knackered, and so it looks like they'll miss out on the in the Premier League for the Champions League next year as well. But no, that was a good voyage for West Ham though in in Europe, wasn't it? They're not used to that, so good on them.
It certainly is.
Yep. The final, Rangers versus Frankfurt. Who you got in that one?
Oh, as much. I mean, I know I'm a Celtic fan, being a Liverpool fan, but I don't live in the city of Glasgow, so I would love to see Rangers win it. I think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, who took over from Stevie G halfway through the season when Stevie got the Villa job, I think he's just done a fantastic job keeping them going. I mean, they ran Celtic close in the Scottish Premiership. I mean, it's come down to the last couple of games. Celtic obviously crowned champions yesterday or the day before. But yeah, I'd love to see Rangers win that, and of course that would mean direct entry
both of them,
Champions League
for both of them, because
of them.
Celtic because of the Scottish Premiership this year will get direct entry to the Champions League, and of course if Rangers win the Europa League, they'll get direct entry. So there could be 2 Scottish teams directly through to the group stages for next year's Champions League, which would be amazing for Scottish football. I kind of hope they do as well, even though I don't really like Rangers.
Yeah, well, it was hard not to like them when Steve Brown was manager.
It was tricky, eh?
It was sort of a bit like, come on, Rangers.
Yeah, it was a bit like kissing your sister, wasn't it? Sort of like, yeah, hard, yeah. The race for 4th is down to North London rivals Spurs and Arsenal in the Premier League, though. The Gunners holding just a 1-point advantage after this morning's loss at Spurs Stadium. They lost 3-0 to Spurs after Robert Holding was sent off for holding, funnily enough, wasn't he?
It's almost as good as the bowlers holding the batsman's willy.
Almost as good.
Holding sent off. What was he sent off for?
Holding.
Yeah, I know who it was. Yes. What was he sent off for? Holding.
That was a bit of a shocker. Mikel Arteta, I have to get them up. But even if they, what's happening in the next 2 games? Arsenal has Newcastle and Everton. There's just 2 games to go for both teams. And Spurs have slightly easier draw playing Burnley and Norwich. Obviously, Arsenal's game against Newcastle not too much to play for. Everton will have everything to play for, I would say. Yeah. That'll be a very tricky game. Spurs, Burnley and Norwich. Well, Burnley will have everything to play for, that's for sure. They don't want to get relegated. Norwich should be a given for them. Who do you think's going to pick up that 4th spot?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know football's not played on paper. It's played on green grass. But I think Newcastle will be up for that game. Having lost their last 2, they got thrashed by Man City and obviously narrowly beaten by Liverpool the week before. They'll be up for it. They'll want to finish the season on a high. I know Eddie Howe, who's obviously in contention for Manager of the Year, he'll want the side to finish on a high. And yeah, they'll be up for that game. We've seen some great Arsenal-Newcastle games in the past. I don't know if you remember that game where Arsenal were 4-0 up at half-time.
Yes,
and
Alan Pardew
came back to draw 4-4.
I do. That last goal that was scored, that was just an absolute cracker. Can't remember the guy. What was the guy's name?
It was Czech Tiote.
That's right. He die?
Sadly passed away in recent years.
Very sad.
So, yeah, as you say, Burnley will be up for it, although they've been struggling a bit lately. They did win 3 in a row, but they got beaten by Villa at the weekend.
Yeah.
And they do have some key players out with injury. But yeah, I'm actually going to pick Spurs to finish 4th.
Okay. Yeah, I think so as well. And that would be a fair enough result after what we saw this morning as well. I mean, Spurs look a more complete side than Arsenal to me. Yep. They look better coached. They look more about them. Arsenal, they're a young side, very young side. I think they'll be better next year. But I think that would be a fair result if Spurs did take that 4th spot. With Norwich and Watford now relegated, Leeds, a team that we really did not pin for relegation, looks like they might be in trouble as they're in free fall as the bottom 3 sorts itself out. Burnley, having lost to Villa on the weekend, as you said, while Everton has picked up a couple of draws to sit 2 points ahead of the Clarets and Leeds. But Southampton has joined the picture as well. While unlikely to go down to the drop, they have 2 difficult games to go against Liverpool and Leicester, and it would take a miracle for Leeds to overtake the Saints on goal difference. So Everton on 36 points. They've got Brentford at home, Palace at home, Arsenal away. Burnley on 34 points, just tucked in behind, have Spurs away, which is a tough one, Villa away, which is another tough one, and Newcastle at home. Poor old Burnley. Those 3 games look pretty tough. And Leeds only have 2 games to go. Brighton at home, which is a tough game because Brighton are playing pretty well at the moment, and Brentford away.
Yeah, I don't know about Brighton playing well. I mean, it was only United that weekend.
4-0. Yeah, poor old United. Gets worse and worse. We'll talk about them shortly. So, Who you got for the drop then of those three, mate? Everton, Burnley, and Leeds, or maybe Southampton. What do you reckon?
Oh, I think Southampton are probably okay. They are 6 points ahead of Burnley and Leeds. So it would take a miracle for them to go down. Although we've seen crazy things happen. My heart is saying Burnley will go down. Sorry, my heart's saying Burnley will go down.
Yeah.
But my head is saying, sorry, Leeds.
Yeah. I've been saying for ages that Everton are going to go down. I've just looked at their draw, but lately they've just had a little bit more about them, and it started with that Liverpool game where they played horrible football, but they sort of discovered something about themselves, didn't they? A bit of a fighting spirit, and I think I think Everton will be okay. I think it's between Burnley and Leeds. I hope Leeds stay up, but I just think it's looking bad for them, man. Jesse March, he got a little bit of a bounce out of them, but since then they ain't looked flashed, and they've had so many send-offs, so many red cards,
stupid ones. What was Luke Ayling doing on the weekend, going in for a tackle?
No idea. He's their captain. He'll be gone for the rest of the season. I mean, they've had more yellow cards with 2 games to go, more yellow cards by about 10 than any other team in history in the Premier League, and a number of red cards too. And that's been a big cause of a lot of their problems. After fighting so hard to get up for so many years.
And I mean, if you look at some of their players, if they go back down to the Championship, they're going to lose Rafinha, Rodrigo, Daniel James, Calvin Phillips. Probably Matthias Klick.
Probably the goalie as well.
Yeah, the goalie.
Melier.
And possibly Patrick Bamford as well. So they could lose more than half their starting 11 if they go down.
It'll be an absolute...
Such a great old club with such great history, and
it's quite weird this year, because they've had their fans back. I thought their fans might have given them something, because last year they didn't have them there, and it's kind of an empty feeling. But this year, I mean, they've had their fans there, and they really don't seem to have responded. I would have thought that might have got them a few points, but doesn't seem to matter whether they play home or away, does it, mate? They just can't seem to get it done.
They'll need their fans to bring them home in that last game of the season. The game against Brighton. Before travelling down to London for that Brentford game. So
absolutely.
It's going to be tough. Now, referee John Moss' performance in the Liverpool-Aston Villa match drew the ire of Steven Gerrard.
Did it what?
I had to laugh in Steven Gerrard's press conference. One of the reporters says, did you know that John Moss is retiring at the end of the season?
Is he? Good.
And Steven Gerrard just went, good.
Good. Is he? Good.
What were your thoughts on his performance?
I thought he was awful. I thought he couldn't give a foul either way. I mean, for a start, he was for both sides. He was just a shocker. He just couldn't seem to get his feeling in the match. It was just terrible. There was a VAR decision that should have been a VAR. I mean, I know that's not his fault, but the offside decision leading up to the Villa goal was an absolute shocker. He was offside by a good metre. That wasn't called up. But during the game, I mean, for both sides, he was just terrible. He was just, he couldn't get anything right. I just thought he was maybe he's already in the retirement village, mate. I don't know. I'm not going to be sad to see Mr. Moss go. I think he's a terrible referee.
Yeah, he's not been good for a while now, has he?
No, and he looks like he shouldn't be a referee anyway, mate. I mean, I don't want to make any aspersions towards his physique, but let's be honest, mate. It looks like he should be. Looks like he should be serving beers or pies at the pie cart to me, really, rather than refereeing the match. But I go along with Stevie G with everything.
That would have been hard for him, that game against Liverpool.
Yeah, definitely. But they gave as good as they got, didn't they? I mean, they went and they played really physically. Afterwards, Steven Gerrard said he was very, very proud of his team, and why wouldn't they? Very proud. No, because they played really well. Yeah, they played bloody well, mate. I thought they were kind of unlucky, but no, they played very well. Salamane and Jota all score 15 plus goals in the Premier League. Only been done once before, mate. Can you tell me when it was last done?
Wouldn't have a clue.
Okay, it was 2014.
2014. Oh, Liverpool.
No, it was Man City.
Oh.
In 2014, Aguero, Torre, and Dzeko got 15 plus goals. That's the only other time it's ever been done.
I would have said, I was thinking Suarez, Sturridge, and Sterling.
Suarez and Sturridge both got over 20, I think, there, but I don't think Sterling got 15. But there you go. That was just a little question there for you. I thought I'd throw that one out. Interesting.
Good one.
A little stat. Yeah, thanks, mate.
Fulham, who are crowned champions, and Bournemouth will both be back in the Premier League next season after claiming the automatic promotion spots.
The yo-yo teams?
After the Cherries held off a strong finishing Nottingham Forest. Now, in the playoffs, we've got a couple of interesting ones here.
We do.
Unfashionable Luton Town, who last played in the top flight in the late 80s and early 90s. I don't know if you remember their plastic pitch.
I do. It caused all sorts of dramas. They hated it.
Had the old Astro.
That's right. The ball bounced about twice as high as every other ground.
Which was basically a carpet on a concrete base.
It was. It allowed them to play more Route 1. Even after it's just belted up there. It'll bounce about 40 metres in the air. I do remember that plastic pitch. Very controversial.
So anyway, they went right out of the Football League a few years ago and have fought their way back. They'll play Huddersfield in the two-legged semi-final, while Forest, who could have finished second 2 games ago, ended up finishing fourth. Yeah. They'll play Sheffield United. Now, that is going to be tough.
Yeah. I reckon.
The Blades, actually both sides started the season very poorly.
They did.
And
both sacked their managers.
And Sheffield United were in the bottom half of the league. So to get up to the playoff spots is an incredible job for both of those sides. So Absolutely. Who's you picking those two guys?
Well, I have to go Forest, don't I? I have to go Forest. I just love to see Forest back in the Premier League. So I have to go Forest. I'll have to go Luton. I mean, Luton and Forest playing off to make one of those two teams playing for the Premier League. That would be awesome. So go Luton versus Forest. So go Luton against Huddersfield and go Forest against Sheffield United. You got any arguments there?
Well, not an argument. I just think Huddersfield have probably had the better of the two seasons.
They have.
If they can carry on their form. I think it's going to be a Forest-Huddersfield final.
Fair enough.
Forest, even though they've stuttered the last couple of weeks, I just think their form over the second half of the year has just been unbelievable. And yes,
very well coached.
United have had a good second half as well, but I just think Forest have got the edge. I was really impressed with the way they've been playing. I've watched about 3 or 4 games of theirs over the last couple of months, and obviously the FA Cup quarter-final against Liverpool, they were very impressive, holding us to just 1 or 2-0.
They've got a number of loan players there, though, So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what their roster's like next year, especially if they do make it to the Premier League. They're probably going to have to... That guy, Jed Spence, a right back, he looks really handy, but I think he's on loan from somewhere. Be very interested. Very interested.
Peterborough and Barnsley joined Derby County in being relegated to League One. And with Wigan and Rotherham automatically promoted from League One, Sunderland is trying to get back to the Championship after finishing 5th in the league. And they dispatched Sheffield Wednesday in the playoff semi-finals.
Did you see the crowd there?
Yeah. Winning
40,000
at the Stadium of Light and then holding Sheffield Wednesday to 1-1 at Hillsborough. So they're through, and they will play Wycombe Wanderers in the League One final in a couple of weeks' time. So
Akinfenwa, his last game, big Eddie Akinfenwa, his last game of football is going to be at Wembley for Wycombe Wanderers, which is a great way to finish. The guy's just turned 40, and he said now he's going to retire from football and he's going to get into the movies, and he wants to do movies with Denzel Washington because he thinks that him and Denzel make a great pair. I love Mr. Akinfenwa. He's a great dude.
He certainly is. Big Liverpool fan too.
Yeah, he is.
So he'll probably be at Wembley this weekend to watch his team play Chelsea.
Yeah, probably.
Wycombe Wanderers, of course, they got through to that final by getting rid of Milton Keynes Dons.
Who we don't like, do we?
No, we don't like them.
Don't like them.
No, don't like them. We're getting towards the end of the season, so that means in about 3 weeks' time,
here comes the silly talk.
Season again.
So let's preempt that by starting silly season early, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Transfer talk, lady. Transfer talk. This is our transfer talk segment, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so the big one has been done. The secret that's no longer a secret, worst kept secret of the off-season. City signed Erling Haaland for €51 million, which seems cheap, but it's not really, because he's going to get £375,000 a week. Then there's the agents' fees, which we've been rumoured to be around 20 to 30 million. Then there's a fee for his dad, which is rumoured to be around 20 to 30 million. Then there's other fees and other... So, yeah, it might seem cheap, but it's not cheap. He's only 21 years old. He's so much pace and physicality. He's broken all the goal-scoring records in the Bundesliga. Is he a lock to be successful for Manchester City?
No.
Why?
I just can't see him fitting into Guardiola's style. You know, the pass and move type game. Yes, Sergio Aguero did well for them. Obviously, he's their record scorer now. Completely different type of player, though, to Haaland. Haaland is more your old-fashioned type centre-forward, more of your Robert Lewandowski type.
Breaking from deep, a transition player.
Harry Kane type player. But, yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably still going to score goals, don't you?
Yeah, he will. He will. But will he be scoring goals to add to City's total, or will he just be scoring them instead of someone else? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked about this in the past around Romelu Lukaku. When he was scoring 20 goals a season for Man United, he very rarely scored against the top six sides. You know, he was common, as they commonly regarded, a flat track bully. Yeah. And I can sort of see Haaland being the same. I think against top defences, I mean, he's been playing in the Bundesliga, and I mean, apart from Bayern Munich, really, you know, is there any top defences?
You don't have Van Dijk and Konate to worry about, do you?
Yeah.
You know?
And yes, he's scored some goals in the Champions League. He even scored a couple of goals against Liverpool when he was at Salzburg. But yeah, I don't know if he's worth £375,000 a week.
No. The reason they gave him that is because Kevin De Bruyne is on 400, so they wanted to give him slightly less. What you got to think, don't you, mate? I don't know. They get close to 100 points this year. They can't get much more than that next year. Yeah. They've got goals coming from everywhere. Okay, he's going to score goals. That means someone else is going to score less. I don't know. Yeah, I think he'll score goals. So. But see, this is everyone say, oh well, everyone may as well just give up next year. He's going to make City so much better. That's going to be the end of it. Everyone else just go home. Don't even bother turning up. Well, that's not how we work at Liverpool, is it? I mean, we'll get better as well. We'll improve. I would suggest at Liverpool, I wouldn't give a shit about it if we went out and got Bellingham, because we know exactly where we need improvement. Up the front, we're fine. We might sign another player, but we've got Carvalho coming from Fulham. We might sign the odd fringe player for up front, but we need a couple more players in midfield, and we've just about... I'll be very, very happy with our side. And someone like Bellingham, they can have Haaland if we can have Bellingham, please.
Yeah, that would be good.
Wouldn't it?
Now, somebody else on the move, Chelsea defender Antonio Rudiger.
The angriest man in football.
For Real Madrid.
Yeah. Hey? The angriest man in football.
He certainly is.
That's a great signing. That's a great signing for Real Madrid, though.
He is a good signing for Real Madrid. That's one of their weaker areas, isn't it?
It is. They've got Alaba, they've got Militao. They're both good defenders. Rudiger's a great defender. He really is. I mean, I don't like him because you don't like your opposition centre-backs who are angry men. But he is a hell of a defender, and he will make Real Madrid so much stronger. He really will. I can't believe Chelsea are letting him go. I mean, he probably decided he wanted to go, I guess, once Real Madrid came in for him. But who the hell are Chelsea going to have at the back next year? Because Christensen's they've got no defenders next year. Who cares? But
Not me.
That's a great signing for Real Madrid, if you ask me.
Yep. Red Bull Salzburg striker Kareem Adeyemi, who apparently was a huge target for Man United, and they thought Eric Ten Hag apparently had already spoken that he'd almost had that signing wrapped up. Well,
yep.
Sorry, boys. He's off to replace Haaland at Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, he doesn't want to play in the Conference League.
No.
He wants to play some Champions League. He's a handy player. Still quite raw, very pacey, good finisher. I have watched a little bit of him for Red Bull Salzburg because Liverpool were rumoured to be into him earlier last season. Could be anything, but I mean, once again, he's only played in the Austrian league, so probably I would suggest he'll go there, and then maybe in 2 or 3 years, Manchester United will try and sign him, like they did with Haaland. They had a chance to get Haaland, didn't they? Before he went to
And another signing I just noticed completed this morning. Aston Villa have completed the signing of Philippe Coutinho.
It's a good signing for them.
Just £17 million.
Really? Wow. How much did we sell him to Barcelona for? 140 million?
140 million, something like that, yeah.
So down to 17, cut price discount. He's in the discount basket. That's a great pickup for Aston Villa. It really is.
Yeah. I'm just, it doesn't say. 146 million pounds 4 years ago.
So, discounted by 130 million back to Aston Villa. So great pickup by Steven Gerrard, and he's been doing great things at Villa. Rate him as a player, and I think he'll do well there. But mind you, they do have Emi Buendia there, who's a very, very similar player too. So don't know where both of them are going to play, but that's for Steven Gerrard to work out, I guess.
Now, big question. This next one. Where's Harry Kane going to go if Spurs don't make Champions League? I mean, City have just signed Haaland.
Yep.
United and Spurs, no Champions League. Chelsea have got Lukaku. And obviously, very unlikely for him to switch North London sides and go to Spurs.
I'll tell you where he won't go. He won't go to Liverpool. Tony Cascarino has suggested that perhaps he should. Signing Harry Kane would be the perfect way for Liverpool to respond to City's capture of Haaland, he said. Tottenham Hotspur are set to finish outside the Champions League, and Kane is unlikely to want to stay for another year. Because of Haaland's move, he can't move to City. United are not an option because they will miss out on the Champions League. Chelsea already have Romelu Lukaku. That leaves Liverpool as the only suitable destination. He would be a great fit for his team. He boasts an exceptional work rate, can drop deep, the same way as Firmino. He scores all types of goals. Couldn't think of a more perfect forward for him. He would outscore Mohamed Salah, provide the kind of assists he has for Son and Dejan Kulusevski this year at Tottenham. What do you make of his comments about Tony Cascarino that he should be coming to Liverpool?
Yeah, I don't know if he's quite the right fit. I did see that. That was what.
We'd take him, wouldn't we? We'd take him. But
we'd certainly take him.
We're not going to pay 100 million. You know that.
No.
That's the thing. We would have to pay 100 million to get Kane. We ain't going to pay that. The thing that Klopp does, he goes out, buys players that aren't, quite the top and makes them into top players. We don't go out and buy the superstars, except for when we get 146 million, 140 whatever million from Barcelona, and we've got a little bit of money in the back pocket. We might go out and buy a couple of superstars to make the team a little bit better, but unless we got that sort of coin, we're just not going to do it. He would make our team I think he would make our team better because he does drop deep. He works hard, all that sort of stuff. But we ain't going to pay the money. So
he's a different type of player than he was 2 or 3 years ago when he was just an out-and-out number 9, banging goals on left, right, and centre. And I mean,
absolutely.
He still does get. I mean, he's got a couple of goals this morning. But yeah, I really don't know who Firmino's replacement is. Yes, Sadio Mane's done a good job filling in there, but he's not Firmino. Firmino does so much that's out of the eye that you just don't see.
He's a unique player. You keep Firmino. I mean, all these people saying, "Oh, get rid of him." Why? He's on the books for another year or two. There were Bayern Munich. There were rumours they might be sniffing around for him. But why would we sell him? Surely you want to keep him there until he's 40. I mean, just keep him on the books. Yeah. Everyone loves his smile. Everyone sings his song. Every time he's on the field, he just does stuff that other people can't do. He hassles. He's the best pressing forward, perhaps other than Lewandowski, that I've seen. So I just think we'd be nuts to sell Firmino. Why we're even looking to replace him is stupid. You keep him there as a rotational player at least, anyway. Yeah. So right. So where's Kane going to end up then? What's your call?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's going to stay at Spurs.
End up at Spurs.
Yeah, me too. I can't see anywhere else he's going to go. There's just no one else. Unless maybe Bayern Munich get rid of Lewandowski, he could go there. But I think he wants the Premier League goal-scoring record too. Yeah. So he's not going to get that playing for Bayern Munich. So
I guess it depends. I think the United thing is possibly still in play, but only again if they throw a bucket of money at him.
Yeah. I don't think the United thing's in play for next season though. It just won't happen because he want to play Champions League. So they're going to have to do. I think if they were on the rise, maybe next season he might go there. But I just think next season he's just going to be at Spurs. There's just going to be no one else out there for him.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich, we were talking about them. They are sniffing around, and they're sniffing around a couple of our players, mate. We mentioned Firmino. There has been more concrete evidence to suggest that they are chasing Sadio Mane, our number 10, and Barcelona apparently want our number 11, Mo Salah. What do you think? Are they going to sign new deals with us, or will they be away?
Oh, I bloody hope they do. I'm sort of hoping that now that Klopp signed on for another couple of years, that'll be the incentive for them to stay on. They've seen us strengthening the squad already with Luis Diaz. There's a couple of other players. Fabio Carvalho is apparently wrapped up. And there's also another possible move for the Frenchman Aurélien Tchouameni from Monaco. So I'm hoping that talk about those and actually getting those guys signed and sealed will give Salah and Mane the incentive to stay around. I guess if they do end up selling them, are we going to sign somebody like Mbappe?
I don't think we're signing Mbappe.
I think the only way we would is if we did lose Mane.
I think if we sold Mane or Salah, we still wouldn't get Mbappe. We'd go out and get another couple of guys for big money, but I just can't see us going out and getting one of those superstars. It's not what Klopp does. Like I said, he'd probably go out and maybe buy Rafinha, maybe look somewhere else, and maybe splash out on two players. Maybe look at buying Bellingham. Maybe look at, somewhere a big transfer somewhere else. I just don't think. I mean, I would love Mbappe. Who wouldn't? But the numbers involved in Mbappe transfer, even more zeros than the Haaland, It's just crazy, crazy money. That Tchouameni is an interesting one, though. He's a big, robust midfielder, plays sort of box to box, can play in defensive midfield as well, would be a really good backup for Fabinho. And he'd be a really, really good signing in midfield. Interesting to see that we are looking at signing a few players in midfield. That probably means that players like Oxlade-Chamberlain, who else? Maybe the little Japanese Minamino, little French players, maybe even Curtis Jones. Maybe they'll be leaving the club. Who knows? But I like that Tchouameni signing. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I actually think Mbappe is still in play.
Okay.
Well, he's going to be on a free, so it's not going to cost us a transfer fee, and it'll come down to how much he wants, for a weekly wage, which obviously is going to be high.
Yep.
If you're getting rid of Mane and Salah off the books, I mean, we're not going to be paying Carvalho big money, are we?
No.
I mean, he'll get decent money. And because he's still only 21, 22.
Yep.
Which fits into the age group that the owners want. And yes, we have bought big players before and paid a lot of money for them with Virgil van Dijk, Alisson. Again, only after we made 146 million.
And those were areas we really needed strengthening at that time.
Yeah. I don't think it'll happen, but I still think he's in play. I really do.
I just think he wants to go to Real Madrid. I just think that's what he wants to do, and he's just going to go there. I just
quite possibly.
Yeah, it just happens. You've just seen it so many times. I got to go to Real Madrid and Barcelona. Even if he did come here, I think in the end he'll end up at Real Madrid. That's the thing. He'll come here for a couple of years. I'd rather get someone here that wants to be here, wants to be a Liverpool player, all that sort of thing. So yeah, let's watch the space. Let's just hope they re-sign Mane and Salah so we don't have to go into this at
exactly.
all. Yeah.
Now we've just touched on it already, but Divock Origi's off to AC Milan.
Yeah, good on him. Good on him too.
Yeah.
Good on him. What a career he's had.
Football without Origi is nothing.
Exactly.
What future is there? And we just talked a bit about it for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah,
he's fallen down the pecking order behind Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, and the possible signing of Tchouaméni.
Yep.
Also, goalkeepers Loris Karius and Adrian.
Take him. Bye-bye.
See you later. Minamino and Woodburn. And, of course, Nico Williams and Nat Phillips will be returning from loan spells. And what's going to happen with Joe Gomez? Still a few questions to ask about the squad for next year. Yeah,
players are sniffing around Joe Gomez, aren't they? I mean, teams are sniffing around Joe Gomez, and I completely see why he's such a classy player. We've got to keep him, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's so valuable, and I mean, that season before last, we saw what happened when we had no defenders, so you got to keep him. Nico Williams and Nat Phillips, I think they'll both probably leave. We've just signed a backup right back from Scotland, I believe, a young fella, so I think Nico Williams will leave. I think Nat Phillips will probably go. He's been doing really, really good things at Bournemouth. He looks a class. He's playing those passes out the back like Van Dijk did, mate. Those beautiful long diagonals. So he'll be a good signing for someone. I think both of our backup goalies will leave. I don't know about Minamino. He just isn't getting enough game time. No. Woodburn, he's
been on loan for the last 5 years.
10 years, it feels like, eh? I'd keep Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. I mean, they're both young enough to come again.
Oh, yeah, they're not going.
I think you keep both of them, don't you? Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, bit sad. I mean, the guy's had nothing but, trouble. I mean, he's had such an up-and-down career. Finally gets in the side, gets injured, goes back to, just time and time again. I think he's done well for us. But, yeah, he's really, compared to the other options we've got in midfield, we've just got better options, don't we, mate? So, I think he'll be off as well. So, yeah, there will be quite a big turnover of Liverpool players. But let's be honest, most of these people we're talking about are backups and rotational players, aren't they? You know, so.
Quite right.
And good old Divock Origi.
Oh, yes. What a legend.
Go and enjoy Milan. Let's play a game. Who would you sign for Liverpool for the next season from the 3 relegated clubs? Now, Klopp has history of this in the past, doesn't he? We're signing Andy Robertson from Hull, Xherdan Shaqiri from Stoke. So what do you think? What do you think from the 3 relegated clubs? Obviously, we've only got really probably 2 relegated clubs so far, Norwich and Watford. Anyone amongst the Norwich and Watford teams that you think we might be able to pick up a little bit of thing and elevate into a first-team Liverpool player?
I can't think of anybody from Norwich. If you'd asked me a couple of seasons ago, I would have said Todd Cantwell.
Yep.
He seems to have fallen by the wayside. He's not even been starting for Norwich.
He's gone out on loan. I think he's playing in the Championship. Yeah.
So apart from him, nobody. Watford, yes, there are a couple of players. Ismail Lassar.
Yep. We were sniffing around him a couple of years ago, weren't we?
And there's one other. I just can't think of his name at the moment. Plays in the middle of the park.
Yeah, they've got they do have some handy players. Yeah. And what about? Okay, so what about the other team that may get relegated?
Leeds, I definitely want Rafinha.
Thank you.
And Calvin Phillips.
Either one of those two would do me.
Take both of those.
Absolutely.
If it's Burnley, no thanks.
What about Weghorst up front for an option? Route 1 option.
I'd rather have Chris Wood.
So would I.
And Everton, no, not really.
No, can't think really of anyone at Everton either. Right? There's not too many classy pickings, is there?
Calvert-Lewin, but
I don't mind Decore. Don't mind Decore in the middle of the midfield. Decore, but he's been up and down this year. He's
another Fabinho.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, no, a couple of those Leeds players, and that'll be it.
Yeah, Rafinha would be great. I think he'd be really good. Although he tried to get himself sent off the other day as well, didn't he? Got very angry at the ref, got a yellow, and then tried to get a red with. So yeah, interesting. We got the Tony Cascarino thing. We've talked about that, don't we? What about the future for Man United, mate? Shall we talk about this? I mean, we could do a whole podcast on this, couldn't we? Oh my God, Erik ten Hag, he's got his work cut out for him, hasn't he?
I saw a great graphic. Yesterday it was Man United's team of the year. All it had in it was De Gea and Ronaldo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, they haven't had too many players sort of playing well this year, have they? They haven't played well as a team. They haven't played well as individuals.
Look, I mean, Fernandes can play well. We saw that
a year ago
when he first joined United. We saw how good he could be.
Yeah,
but he's gone right off the boil this year. I'd have Rashford in a heartbeat.
So would I, because I think he can improve. I think he's one of those guys that it's all been uphill with him. I think he could be amazing for the right manager, but and the right team.
We actually saw how good Jesse Lingard is when he went to West Ham last year. So I mean, these guys are going. Don't get me wrong. Half the team have already said they're going.
Well, Lingard's brother came out in the press, didn't he, and said, we didn't even get a send-off. He's been there for 15 years and done all this stuff. And you're thinking, Jesse Lingard not getting a send-off. Well, I don't believe Roy Keane got a send-off. I don't believe Paul Scholes got... Lots of players don't get send-offs, mate. I mean...
David Beckham got a send-off. Not quite the one that you'd want, though.
Got a shoot of the eye, didn't he? I mean, come on, man. I mean... I would understand if you're an iconic player, but it's just a bit rich, isn't it?
I mean, Matic is going.
Yeah.
Juan Mata's probably going to
Mata's gone. Yep.
Who else is there left?
Oh, that's the thing. I mean, who is there left? I mean, who will they keep is probably a better better thing. Okay, so you keep Sancho because you've only just signed him and he's a young man. At the back, I mean, I really don't know. I really don't know who they keep at the back. I mean, do you keep Maguire? I suppose you've got to.
There's rumours Barcelona want him.
Rumours.
Yeah.
I
think it was probably started by Harry.
I think probably, yeah. He won't. Harry Maguire.
Yeah, £80 million worth of forehead.
Yeah. You keep your goalie. You definitely keep your goalie.
If they didn't have David De Gea this year, they would have gone.
They'd be mid-table. Absolutely, they'd be below mid-table. Pogba's gone, isn't he? There's rumours that Pogba's going to City.
Yeah.
So picking up all their dross and making it.
Did you see the discussion between Micah Richards and Jamie Carragher on that one?
No, how did that one go?
Oh, Jamie Redknapp was also there.
Yeah,
Redknapp and Richards. Oh yeah, we'd take Pogba.
I did hear that.
And Jamie Carragher just sits there and go,
wouldn't go near him.
You can have him.
wouldn't go near him. Absolutely. I wouldn't go near him either, mate.
No.
I mean, for a guy that's been free transferred twice.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable piece of mismanagement, isn't it? I mean, bought him for 2 massive fees and free transferred twice. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't go near him. They've just got so many problems in so many areas. Yeah. I mean, Erik ten Hag will do like we said last time. What they've got to try and do is forget about Europe, just rebuild again, and don't worry about if they finish mid-table, but they will, and that's the whole problem, isn't it?
That is the whole problem. Ten Hag's a huge Donny van der Beek fan, and I mean, van der Beek was completely played out of position.
Absolutely,
United
when he was played, he hardly ever got played.
He's been played out of position at Everton too.
Yep.
So I did read one article where Ten Hag was saying, he may even build his side around Van der Beek. I mean, we all saw how good a player he was when he was at Ajax.
Absolutely.
He was just a superstar. But, they're going to have to... I think they'll be relying a lot on the players coming through their academy for a year or so. I mean, they just won the FA Youth Cup.
Well, that'd make a change, wouldn't it? Back in the youngsters, they haven't done that for years either. I mean, since they bought Rashford and Greenwood and a few of those guys through. Greenwood, I mean, there's another one. You know, I mean, let's just not talk about him. But I mean, he was a hell of a player.
For a different football team.
Yeah, the one with stripes.
Yeah.
Or arrows,
maybe. We're not talking about Newcastle.
Or arrows. Yeah. Okay, so enough of United. Yeah, they've got more woes than we can shake a stick at. Not a lot of hope for them. What about Chelsea, mate? What's going on with them?
Yes, well, their sale has been confirmed to a side headed by LA Dodgers owner Todd Bowley.
Oh, the Chelsea Dodgers.
The Chelsea Dodgers, yeah. Trophy Dodgers. So a couple of questions. Firstly, will Thomas Tuchel get a huge war chest? And secondly, will Tuchel actually still be the manager?
I was going to say, will Tuchel get it? Well, will he still be there? If I was Thomas Tuchel, I wouldn't be there. But, I mean, who knows? He's had a hell of a job this year, and I think he's done pretty well in pretty trying circumstances. If I was him, I would just be treating this all the rest of the season as a job interview for another club. Because next year ain't going to be the same. I really cannot see. I mean, they'll get some money, but they ain't going to be able to sign, here's 100 million out of my private bank account for Lukaku. That's just not going to happen, That's just not going to happen. They're just not going to be operating at the same level they were for the past 20 years. They might get, they might sign the odd 50 million player. They might, but it's just not going to be them blowing everyone else away anymore. So that's my take. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting couple of seasons ahead for Chelsea. I think Tuchel probably will stay there. A new owner coming in will want to try and keep the ship as stable as possible, if he's got any clues about him. Although he does own the LA Dodgers, who are pretty notorious. Much the Man United. They're the new New York Yankees.
They are. I guess but they're the West Coast Yankees, aren't they?
Yeah, the West Coast Yankees.
Yep.
So it's going to be very interesting. I mean, Tuchel's got them to 2 cup finals this year. As Liverpool fans say, if we can win a few cups, that'll be a great season.
Absolutely.
If he can win the FA Cup, it'll be a hell of a season.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're obviously going to play Champions League football next year. But as you say, I don't see the big money signings that we've seen in the past with Abramovich just putting his hand in his pocket and say, here, go and get Lukaku from Inter Milan.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting times, like you say, and they're losing a few players too. We've already talked about Rudiger and Christensen, I think, at the back, and a number of other players at the back. I just have no idea who's going to be playing for them next year. So it's interesting times at Chelsea and Man United.
Quite right. Now, you touched on it earlier with the changes to Champions League.
Yeah.
From 2024, we've talked about Scottish Premiership and going into the Champions League next year. The following year, the Premier League is likely to have 5 teams in the Champions League as UEFA look to increase the size of the competition, with 36 teams competing, up 4 from the current format. This will also mean the group stage will be 8 games, whereas it's normally 6. And obviously managers, including Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, have been vocal in saying there is currently enough games being played, as when Liverpool play Real Madrid at the end of May, it will be their 63rd game of an already long season. What do you think about this?
The thing that I can see is we're getting more group games, but they're talking about now removing the second leg of the knockout games as well. To me, the group games are the games that often I can take or leave. But when it gets to the knockout stage, these are the games that I really want to see. And you're in front of home crowds that are just going off. It's crazily fervent. But they're removing that. So it seems like they're trying to add more at the end that I don't like, and they're removing them from the end that I do like. So, no, I don't like this. I don't mind increasing the amount of teams at the beginning, but just have the same amount of, you just have more groups and just have the same amount of teams. I don't know. I just think that, to me, once again, man, it comes down to Futhi Muller. I would have thought having 2-legged home and away ties, you'd think they get more money. But what they're proposing is that they have all the semi-finals in one city, so they get more, obviously, corporate tickets. It's just money. Are they actually thinking about the best for the sport? I mean, the second away or home leagues are just awesome, aren't they? We just saw that.
We've just seen half a dozen.
I know. They're just so good. Yeah. It's the best type of football you will ever see, and they're wanting to take it away.
Yeah.
I mean, I just...
As you say, it's all about the money and the television and...
Is the New Zealand... Have they been talking to the New Zealand Rugby about how to run a competition?
So. Actually, good wee segue there.
Introducing buys and bonus points.
Our next podcast is going to be a rugby special.
We will.
And we're going to talk about ways that we think we can improve the game in New Zealand. Anyway, more about that.
Rather long list.
Now, UEFA also want to introduce a pre-season tournament, but clubs are against it as they prefer their money-making trips around the world. Plus, managers turn the nose up saying, enough! No more competitive games. There's enough already. Just more UEFA trying to fill their own pockets.
And what are they going to call it? The pre-season, what are they going to call their pre-season tournament? Why can't you just let the clubs do their own stuff there? No, because there's money to be had. Yeah. We want some more money.
We want more sponsor money. We want more money.
I know.
Give us more money. Money.
When it's when the sport, it's like the old cliche: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's just such an old cliche, but it just rings so true when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yep.
Anyway, rumours that the Champions League qualified teams will bypass the Carabao Cup in future as the seasons grow. I completely see this, especially if they're bringing new group stages in. How the hell are they going to play in the Carabao Cup?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they play on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday basis. 3 games a week. They can do it.
Yeah.
So there'll be no Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, Tottenham.
Manchester United will be there.
None of the top teams though in the Carabao Cup. You can just see the Carabao Cup being fought by Wickham and Nottingham Forest in future years, can't you?
Yeah, like what is it, the FA Trophy or something?
Oh, no, there's the Vans, there's all sorts of trophies. So I don't understand how teams qualify for, and I don't understand. I just don't understand.
And talking about more football,
the
22-23 season is going to start early to allow the World Cup to be played in Qatar in November, December. 16 games from August the 6th until the weekend of November 12th and 13th. Then they'll break till Boxing Day for the World Cup. No thought whatsoever for players' safety, recovery, well-being.
No, well, they're fine. They'll be fine.
We've just had a crack at UEFA. We might as well have a crack at FIFA as well.
Just keep playing, man. Just keep playing. You're in a different uniform.
Yep. Strong footballing nation, Qatar.
I'll tell you what, this World Cup will either be the best quality or the worst quality. It'll be one of the two. It'll either be the best quality because all the players are in the middle of the season and they're in great form and they're all that, or it'll be the worst quality because the players are all exhausted. It'll be one of the two. So
too freaking hot, that's why.
Yeah, and the weather and everything else. So I hope it's the first one. But if it is the first one, can you imagine how shit the players are going to be when they come back to their teams in the Premier League? There could be all sorts of upsets. It'll actually make it quite interesting, I suppose.
Well, the other thing is too, they'll be playing. I think I can't remember what date the World Cup final set down for.
Yeah.
But they'll be coming from 42 degrees in Qatar
straight to
-3 degrees in the north of England.
It's crazy, eh?
Oh, be hamstrings snapping.
It will be. Yeah, it's just nuts. Yeah. No, yeah. Don't worry about the players. They'll be fine.
No. As long as FIFA can get their money from Coca-Cola and McDonald's.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, there's been lots of talk on the Liverpool group lately. Have you seen this about how poor the commentary teams are currently operating on Spark Sport? With Jim Beglin especially being coming in for some very harsh criticism, especially from the Liverpool fans. What are your thoughts on the commentary currently?
As a general rule, I think they're all outstanding.
So do I.
I've tried commentating myself, and people have said that I would be a good commentator, but geez, bloody hard.
It is bloody hard, mate.
Bloody hard. I mean, and Jim Beglin is bit annoying sometimes. He tries to be unparochial.
Yeah.
But it turns out, when he's commentating on Liverpool,
he can't help himself, eh?
And when he's commentating Everton, he's anti-Everton.
Yeah.
And he's overthought the whole thing, I think.
Yeah.
But on as a general rule, I think the commentators are very good. I mean, the actual play-by-play callers are all
they're awesome, aren't they? Yeah.
I'm not sure of the woman's name that's started to pop up, but she's excellent as a play-by-play caller.
Absolutely.
And they've even had some former England internationals doing the comments, and
Glenn Hoddle does them as well. He's good.
Yeah, no complaints about those.
No.
Glenn Hoddle's really good. I love Andy Townsend.
So do I.
He was never much of a player, but
no, he offers some really poignant insight at the right times. He just, and often it's player insight. So stuff that as you're watching as a spectator, you don't really think about. He's a little bit like Peter Sterling in rugby league.
Yeah.
He just knows when to chime in with a little nugget of something that just adds to the viewing experience. One of the guys,
there is one play-by-play caller that maybe should call time on his career.
Who's that?
Martin Tyler.
Oh yeah, Martin Tyler. He's a bit like
fantastic.
To me, he's a bit like Keith Quinn. He was the number one guy for so many years, and even when you hear his voice now, you sort of feel safe and good. You still feel good hearing his voice. It's just that he's starting to get a little bit just missing the odd thing. Have you noticed that? Yeah, a little bit like Grant Nisbet as well. Nisbet, I love
Man
you,
United bias is showing too.
Oh,
he flatly denies he's a Man United fan.
He is. He's a Man United fan. We all know. That's why he's got a direct line to Martin Devlin, mate. That's the guy, David Lim, the guy on our Liverpool supporters thing, was the one that said Jim Beglin is the worst commentator ever. Only Joe Buck and Spiro Didis are worse. You know who those guys are?
I know who Joe Buck is, yeah.
Don't know who Spiro Didis is. But no. Do you like Joe Buck as a commentator?
I don't mind Joe Buck.
I don't mind him either. So no. I don't know. David Lim, pull your head out of your ass,
hate him. Americans hate him.
I know they do. I don't know why.
Martin, our good Scottish friend in Houston, absolutely despises him. Joe Buck.
I know. I don't know why. I don't think he's that bad. But anyway.
No.
That's me.
But yeah, I mean, Peter Drury is the new doyen of commentators.
Yeah.
Some of his comments that come out are just absolute. It's like
his alliteration from heaven. You know, sparkling crackle of it. You know, he just comes up with just beautiful. He's got his thesaurus handy at all times.
Yep.
Just a wordsmith. I love him.
I think one of my favourite ones of his was after Mo Salah scored that weaving goal against Man City.
Yeah.
He weaved in about 13 players and beat them all, and then just popped the ball in the corner of the goal past Edison.
Yeah.
And Peter Drury comes out with, that's just pure PlayStation stuff. You can't even do that with a joystick.
That's right. That's right. No, he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, we don't mind the commentators.
Yep.
Should we go to football this side of the hemisphere, mate?
Yes, quite right. Melbourne City claimed the minor premiership honours after beating Wellington Phoenix 2-1 midweek, while Neighbours Victory finished second. They actually had a good second half of the season too.
They did, because they weren't anywhere
down near the bottom at the beginning. Both have a weekend off, while Western United host the Phoenix and Adelaide host Central Coast in the two elimination finals. A win for the Phoenix, who have beaten Western 3 times this year. I just looked that up before the podcast. I did think they'd won at least 2 of them, but no, they beat Western 3 times. Will mean a home semi-final first leg against Melbourne City in Wellington on Wednesday, with the second leg in the Victorian capital 4 days later.
Wow. They're still playing 2 legs then.
2 legs for the next round. Yeah.
Great.
We like 2-legged football, don't we?
We do. We love it. And we got the home league first.
Yes.
Midweek fixture. You think you'll get a full house there or close to?
Mate, if they can beat Western United on the weekend, which I think they can, because they do match up pretty well against Western United. I'm actually quite surprised that they finished 3rd, given how easily, I mean, we beat them 4-1 when we played them.
Yeah.
Mate, a full Sky Stadium on Wednesday night would just be absolutely brilliant.
You going down? You going to go down for it?
Oh, we'll be there. Don't you worry about that.
Good stuff, mate. Fantastic.
Yep, and then followed by a big drive up to Auckland the following day.
Beautiful.
So it would be a stay a night in Wellington and then straight up Transmission Gully on the way to Wellington.
You're a jet setter or at least a car setter anyway, mate. I don't know.
Exactly.
You're a traveller.
Yeah, big few days ahead for the Phoenix. And we've talked about it before, but just an amazing job to get into the playoffs, given the circumstances. We've talked about the Warriors and the Breakers, staying in Australia for the last 2 years. Phoenix have done exactly the same thing, apart from one game in each season or 2 games back in New Zealand. So, Ufuk Talay, what an absolute superstar coach you are, mate.
Yeah, give him a statue. Honestly, he's just done such a great job, and as have the players. I mean, especially just look at the roster, man. I mean, so many young kids as well coming through in that team. It's just great to see. Ben Wayne is maturing as a player. He looks like he could be anything, really, man.
Sam Sutton.
It's great. It's great to see young Kiwi talent coming through in a Kiwi side and doing so well and making the semi-finals. Just so good. So good.
Before we get on to the best bet of the week, I just want to do a quick shout out to a man that you mentioned earlier on in the show for his fantastic headed goal against Australia in the 1982 World Cup qualifiers, Grant Turner.
What a player he was,
mate. You've just announced during the week that you're suffering quite badly with cancer. All the very best. Go well. Keep the good fight going. You're a superstar player for New Zealand and in club football around New Zealand and Australia. And I just want to wish Grant all the very best in his current battles.
Mate, if anyone can whack cancer, that guy can. He was hard as nails as a player. I mean, just an absolute champion. It was just so sad that he never got to play at the World Cup. Of course, he got injured before we made that World Cup. But like I said, mate, I don't think I've ever seen a better header. I've hardly ever seen a better midfielder play for New Zealand. He was just hard as nails and just so technically good too, wasn't he, mate? He just didn't play enough. It was just injury got him. We're with you, mate. We're with you in your fight, and go well. Okay, I've got a best bet of the week, haven't I?
You do.
Okay, now I don't know whether this is a best bet. I'm looking for value. I'm looking for value here. Okay, this is our value bet. Okay, if you're wanting to make some money, some big money, looking for good odds. So the Warriors got humped last week. Yes, it was a terrible, terrible loss. It was the worst loss, close to the worst loss in their history. They didn't turn up. I think they'll turn up this week, Macca. I really do. I really think they're going to turn up this week. I think they will. They're playing the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs, not a rabbit. You know what a Rabbitoh is?
No.
A Rabbitoh is a man who harvests rabbit pelts. No. So actually, that's what a Rabbitoh is. So they're not rabbits. So we're hunting the guy that hunts the rabbits. So we're playing the Rabbitohs. They're without captain Cameron Murray, a number of other injuries as well. And they face us tomorrow. We welcome back Tohu Harris into the side. First game for the captain. He'll make a big difference. Marcelo Montoya, our Spanish winger, is on the wing. He's back after suspension as well. A number of other players coming back into it as well. We've got a couple of young guys. Looks like the new boy Volkman might get a run as well. I have got a funny feeling we might get up over the Rabbitohs, mate. No one else is thinking this. The TAB certainly isn't, because they're paying $4, 1 to 12. I think that's great value. You want more? You want $9?
We always want more.
13 plus $9. Okay? I've got a feeling. That's it.
I've got a feeling.
The Warriors are going to get up against the Rabbitohs. Stupid Rabbitohs. What a dumb name.
Yeah, quite right.
Okay, good week, bad week from you, mate.
I'd just like to point out before we go to good week, bad week, that the best bet 2 weeks ago was of Australian sides against New Zealand sides.
Go on.
The Brumbies were paying $2.10 to beat the Hurricanes.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
And they got up quite easily.
They did get up quite easily. A lot of the Aussie sides got up.
And one other little bet that I mentioned was also showing good value was New South Wales Waratahs against the Crusaders. The Waratahs were paying $70.
I know. $7.
$7
head to head.
Even as a Crusaders fan, I thought, mate, I can't lose. If the Crusaders win, I'm happy.
Yep.
If New South Wales win, I need to be happy.
Yep.
So I put a tenner on, picked up $70. Thanks.
That was good stuff. And I did notice that our good mate Hamish Mackay has been on the Facebook saying, "Oh, don't listen to the New Zealand press. They're always saying New Zealand sides are going to win." No, don't read the New Zealand press. Just watch the Hot Air Sports podcast. We'll give you the good oil. We'll give you the good oil. And
of course, bet responsibly.
Absolutely. Always think about it before you place your bet.
Yes. Good week, bad week. Good week. We're going to the States for this one. Aaron Judge hits a walk-off 3-run homer against division rivals Toronto. Yankees were down 5-3 going into the bottom of the 9th. They were 2 out, had 2 runners on base, and he proceeded to absolutely obliterate the ball out of Yankee Stadium. It went right up into the second deck in left field.
It was a massive bomb.
Massive bomb.
Yep.
From a high slider from Blue Jays' Jordan Romano, who had previously been 12 for 12 in save opportunities. So now 12 for 13.
Awesome.
Gave Judge his first ever walk-off home run, which is not bad considering it was Judge's 600th game and his first walk-off.
And he's probably hit, how many home runs has he hit? He would have hit a couple of hundred. I mean, so it's first walk-off after 160 home runs. That's not bad work.
Quite right. And also a special mention to Kiwi golfer Ryan Fox, who this week qualified for the USPGA tournament.
Yeah.
So Ryan.
And I saw a little article on the news with him last night. He's aiming to sort of get in the top 50 and stay there. He sort of said, I'm sick of going in and out. I want to stay there. I want to get into all these tournaments. Go well, Ryan. He's looking really good. His swings, he's really picked up, man. He's a very much improved golfer on the European tour. So go well.
Quite right. Bad week. Breakers coach.
Yeah.
Mayer quits the Kiwi franchise after the team posted a 5-23 record in the ANBL this year. Ooh.
Yeah, family. It's family. That's the reason that he's decided he's got to get back to his family. No, look, I couldn't believe all the comments on social media saying, sad, really sad. Go well. I was like, why are we sad to see the back of this guy? He's done nothing. He's taken us to the worst record. We were one of the best teams when he took over. Now we're the worst team.
Yep.
He's the Roy Hodgson of the Breakers. I'm sorry. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, mate.
Yeah.
There you go. Sorry, Mr. Shamir. Not a fan.
We finished off with a bit of league baseball, golf, and basketball. Hope you've enjoyed our football special. I'm sure it'll engender some chatter on the
comments. We hope so.
Group. Come on,
tell us we're wrong.
And Ravi and Stephen, get your comments out. Let us know your thoughts, and of course, give us a like, subscribe, follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. We look forward to bringing you a rugby special in a couple of weeks' time. I'm off to
rugby
for a bit of a break from the motels. We'll catch up face to face with Mr. Mahona.
Looking forward to that.
We'll have a couple of cheeky lemonades.
Maybe one or two.
Maybe one or two.
Until then, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.